Please be seated. The thief came. What did the thief come to do? The thief came to steal, to kill, but Jesus has come so that we may and have it to the full. So he has already put a contrast in our minds between the thief and himself. Between the one who steals, kills, and destroys, the one who gives us life and gives us life to the full. And once he's put this distinction in our minds, he's asking us now to reflect on every area of our life to see whether or not our life is being led by the Good Shepherd. Or by the thief. You see, brothers and sisters, today is Good Shepherd Sunday, a beautiful day in the church where we reflect on vocation and we reflect on God calling forth good shepherds for his people. And as we celebrate Good Shepherd Sunday and we remember all the priests that you have experienced in your life that has given you the witness and the encouragement to be where you are right now, I want you to think of them. Think of them. And think of the ways in which they have blessed you. Think of the ways in which their example has inspired you. Think of the ways that they've got you to want to be better than you think you can be. And that's what a good shepherd does. He blesses. He inspires. He helps people to be better than they think that they can be. But I know we also meet some priests who are not quite like that. Correct? But not here in Ghana. Correct? Not here. Maybe home by me, but not by you. Correct? And think of their impact on your life. Think of the way their witness has disturbed you or unsettled you, or the way in which their witness has made you doubt church, faith, God. You have that distinction in your mind? It's clear? So we know what you're going to be. You know what you're going to be. What is that? Good shepherds. Brothers, sisters, our text is a beautiful text. It speaks of Jesus in the height of his collision with the Pharisees and the scribes. So in chapter 9, we had the man born blind and the whole contention between them and Jesus, and they wanting to kill him because he had healed a man and because it was his Sabbath and because he didn't fit into their way of being and he didn't fit into how they wanted him to be or how they thought a Messiah, a rabbi or a religious man should be. And that whole contention in chapter 9 spills into chapter 10. And he starts off in chapter 10 with the talking about this tension between him and them by using images that are not the usual images. He says, whoever does not enter the sheepfold through the gate, but climbs over elsewhere is a thief and a robber. But whoever enters through the gates is a shepherd of the sheep. And he's making a distinction here. Because he's going to move from talking about the robbers and the shepherd to make a new distinction that a first century Jew would have heard very clearly, that we don't always hear it clearly in our time. But he's saying that when you see the sheep and they're scattered and they're not cared for well, that there's something that is wrong with the shepherds. And every first century Jew would have heard behind this text, the text of Ezekiel, where God says through Ezekiel that I myself will shepherd my sheep. I will take it from your hands and I myself will shepherd them. Because the shepherds at that time were using the sheep for their own gain and not shepherding the sheep for the sake of God and God's kingdom. And because the shepherds were using the sheep, gaining from the sheep, seeking only profit by the sheep, God says, I will take them away from you, and I myself will shepherd my sheep. There is a hard judgment that comes on shepherds. In Dante's Inferno, the lower rungs of hell are left for the priests, the bishops, the cardinals, and the popes. Because the judgment on the shepherd who does not take care of the sheep is a very strong judgment. Because to him who much is given, and you, brothers, have been given much. You have been given much. Jesus moves his text along, and now he's speaking about the relationship between shepherd and sheep, and he talks about knowing them with an intimacy that is so beautiful. He says, the gatekeeper opens it for him, for the shepherd, and the sheep hear his voice as the shepherd calls his own sheep by name, and he leads them out. The sheep hears his voice, and he leads them out as he calls them by name. When God sent his son to die, he sent his son to die so that you and I may have life in him. Not just for humanity, but for you. For you, for you, for you, and for you. That God knows you by name. He calls you by name. And it is that intimacy between shepherd and sheep that Jesus needs you to have in your life. A sacrament is an outward sign of inward grace. And unfortunately, in the time in which we live, so often we perfect the outward sign, but we don't always perfect the inward grace. The sign of a vocation and giving yourself to God is a beautiful sign for the church. The inward grace is that you come to know the voice of the shepherd. You come to hear him call you by name. You come to experience his voice and his call in your life. You come to know the way the shepherd calls you and how he leads you out. You come to trust, to believe, to hear that voice as a voice of conscience, as a voice of reason, as a voice that calls you to your vocation. The inner sign or the inner grace of a vocation is a growth in the knowledge of God and the growth in the encounter with the risen Lord, where he knows you and you know him. It's not just, brothers, about being able to know theology and philosophy and answer nice theological questions and problems of the day, and to be able to expound beautifully on all the sacred texts. It is to know the shepherd. It is to know the shepherd. Because when you know the shepherd and you are put to be a shepherd, then what the people see is a reflection of the shepherd in and through you. And then they know how to hear the voice of the shepherd, because they know when they hear your voice, they hear his voice, because you know him. And he knows you. This text is a call for intimacy with the shepherd. And every vocation is a call to plumb the depths of the spiritual mystical tradition. We live in a time, brothers, where our young people, your age and younger than you, are no longer going to be convinced only by the wonderful, beautiful liturgies of our church. What convinces is the depth of holiness and the way a person knows God. The way a person? Say it again. He is calling you. He's calling you. He's calling you to be a good shepherd. But to be a good shepherd, you have to know him. You have to love him. And you have to serve him. And that's what a good shepherd is. Brothers, as we come on this Good Shepherd Sunday, as we hear the text again, the thief comes only to steal, to kill, to destroy. But I have come so that you may have and have it to the full. The fullness of life that God gives to us is not magic. It's not magic. It is by giving us the example of him and his love for the Father. As Good Shepherd, what did he do? On the night before he died, he said, Father, take this cup away from me. And then he went on to say, but, come on, but not my will, but your will be done. Your will be done. The example of Jesus giving himself in love to his Father for our sake is the example of the Good Shepherd. Giving everything he has in love for our sake. Brothers, as you are discerning your vocation, as you are seeking to find out God's call in your life, spend a lot of time listening to the Good Shepherd. Attend to him every day. Listen and learn his voice. Because as you learn his voice, that voice will guide you through your entire life. And that's how we come to the fullness of life. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. We only have life to the full when we are ready to give ourselves away in love to him and to his people. We only have life to the full when we are ready to give ourselves away to him and to his people. Listen to the voice of the Good Shepherd. Listen to his voice. And let him lead you in and out. And then you will know what freedom is. And then you will know the Good Shepherd. And then, brothers, then you too one day, through God's grace, might be a good shepherd. Amen.